What if the life you're meant to live is waiting on the other side of one bold pivot? Some people talk about purpose, others live with it. Welcome to Seizing Your Greatness. I'm Julianne Meyer, your host, and today's guest is the perfect example of what happens when you follow the calling, trust the shift, and lean all the way in. Jeff Kist is a certified Proctor Gallagher consultant and coach, a successful investor, and now a best-selling author. His journey is all about alignment, action, and choosing growth, even when the path is not predictable. Jeff, welcome to the show.
Hi, Julianne. Good to see you. I'm so happy to be here. So grateful for the opportunity to be here with you. I absolutely love your premise. Seizing your greatness is such a great message, and I believe we all have it inside of us.
Thank you. Yeah, it's something that has stuck with me for a little while, and I really wanted to bring it to life so that I could highlight people like you who are really not necessarily following what they're told, but really listening to that intuitive pull. And I know a lot of people have this tendency to go along a path because that's the way they've always gone, and they just keep going because that's the way they've gone instead of going, you know what? I think I want to try that one over there. And that's something that I truly find remarkable about you. So I would love to hear a little bit more about your story, your journey, and how you got from where you were to where you are now.
So, without going too far back, I led what I feel is the normal conformity lifestyle. Go to work and get the mortgage and the car and a few toys and do your thing but I always felt that there was more. I saw other people doing more, getting more, being bigger, reaching for greater things. And it wasn't until really when COVID landed, and I was kind of in a rough spot. I was doing a lot of drinking, and that's something that I was able to take a really good look at. I found Mary Morrissey and Bob Proctor kind of at the same time simultaneously, and started listening to some wisdom outside myself and outside my thinking. And I did a 3-day immersion course with him, and just really started looking at my thoughts, my repetitive habits, and what wasn't working for me. And as I continued down the path, I read some books and just got emotionally involved in my journey. And fast forward a little bit, I was able to put a vision together of what I wanted. And I've really never gave myself permission to do that, because what most people do is they start rationalize why they can't have it. And so goal setting is such a big thing. And a lot of people look at it kind of cliche-ish, like it's for a car. But what you're doing is you're creating a vision of who you want to be, where you want to go, and it's got to be fantasy. Your easy dreams and your goals are the car and the things you know how to do. And a B goal might be something like putting a business together where if everything lines up and you get all your ducks in a row, you might be able to open that flower shop or the hot dog stand or whatever it is that you're going after. But the C goal is the one that you really have to put passion and vision, and it's really in the becoming of it's not getting things. It's really not even about the money. It's who you become in the pursuit of it. And that's what has been so inspiring for me. It's led me to Thinking into Results, which is the program now I teach with Proctor Gallagher. I'm one of 2,600, I think, was the last time we checked around the world. It's Bob Proctor and Sandy Gallagher have changed millions of people's lives. It's simple. It's just it's not easy. It's dealing with our emotions and what are called paradigms, which we're born with. Sometimes it's at birth and through our early young age, we're dumped with all these ideas and beliefs that we accept as truth.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times they don't serve us in the greatest way.
You know, something that I really like is that you mentioned that it's who you're becoming in order to have those things. And that's really what it is, because I think a lot of us, once we get the thing, it wears off. The excitement wears off, and it's like, now what? Because we were so focused on what we were getting to or acquiring versus the actual way that we got there and we acquired it, and who we had to become in order to make that possible. Because you can't tell me that a person who's homeless has the same thinking as the person who's a multi-billionaire. They just don't. So, I mean, you're different types of people, but it doesn't mean that the homeless person cannot change their thinking. Would you say
Yeah,
that, Zach?
I think Wolfgang Puck was interviewed when he was on a park bench, or he was interviewed after he was famous, and they said, when did you become successful? And he said, I knew I was successful when I was sleeping on park benches because I knew where I was going and I knew I was going to get there. So it is mindset. And, mindset is just so important. I use this little guy kind of as kind of a little, pendulum, but a
Mhm.
lot of people live in the past. They live, they live into their present moments, carrying all this baggage of, previous things that happen. And I found through my personal growth that a lot of it came from releasing a lot of that stuff that we carry forward. And
Mm,
then if you're a future storyteller, you're over on this end worrying about the future and I'm not where I'm supposed to be. And Eckhart Tolle's got a great book, The Power of Now, and it's kind of just being present with what's going on here in front of you, being present with the moment, and
mm.
looking into the past far enough to learn from your mistakes, and kind of stepping into the future far enough to prepare for what's coming. And that's the way I kind of like to lead people.
I love that. I was thinking too a long time ago, and oh, I would say probably 15 years ago it was. And I was looking at my old journals, and I was looking at my entries, and they all had the same exact goals, all the same exact. And every single time, I thought this is the first time I'd ever thought that. And then this is so exciting. And it was such an eye opener for me to really realize, oh my gosh, I am a talker, not a doer. And I also, I'm repetitive in that I've stayed in the wanting versus the becoming.
Yeah, I have arranged my focus, and I believe that really is the word of the day. And as far as seizing your greatness, we do have it. And from I picked this up 4 years ago, probably at one of the lowest parts of my life, and I don't tell this story much, but I did put a vision together of me moving back to Arizona. I do remember a phrase that stuck with me like very, very powerfully is do what you can with what you got from where you are.
Mhm.
And, we were in lockdown, and I was in lockdown with my mother in Oregon. And I put a vision together of being back in Arizona where I love it. The sun's always shining. And I had a goal of a financial goal. And I sat down one day and I just said, okay, I'm going to be a successful day trader. And I got up every morning, and I became that. And I turned 5,000 into a very large sum of money in a short period of time. And I know this works because you bring into your experience what you focus on. What you
Mhm.
think about all day long is what you're going to manifest. We manifest all the time. We're manifesting our life continuously. And as you focus on what's important to you and start to let go of the things that aren't servicing your purpose, they will show up, and magical things will start to happen. And I've lived it, and I've finally got enough confidence to come on a show like this and share my knowledge and my experience with everybody else. And your story is amazing also. It's
Oh, thank you.
very inspirational, very inspirational.
Thank you for saying that. I don't know if you're familiar with Pam Grout. She's an author, but she wrote E Squared amongst many other books. And it's basically all of these laws of the universe. They're experiments to test the validity of them. And it's really remarkable if you actually do the experiments. It's like, wait a second, this actually did work. This actually did happen. I can't believe it. And I got to tell you, I think that for those that are new to like, because manifestation sounds so woo woo to some people, but there's a science behind it. And, you know, I would start if it were me, and it was me, it has been me. And every once in a while, I need a reminder. I will ask for certain things that are just so off the wall. And then when it does happen, I'm like, whoa, I did that.
And it's very obvious when it shows up, when it's something that you have asked for and you've created. Like I played this game with I want to see a purple Lamborghini, and just within a couple of days, I'm in Kingman, Arizona. I'm halfway between Vegas and Phoenix, in the middle of nowhere. You don't see those kind of cars very often, and here one pops up, and all you can do is laugh and smile and know that you brought that into your own, brought that into your vision.
Exactly. Yeah, one of my favorites is, I really wanted my carpets to be clean, but I didn't wanna pay for it. I manifested that though, I really did, within 30 days.
Did you get someone came knocking on the door with a free
No,
advertisement?
I ended up having a leak, and so they had to clean my carpet in that one spot, but they did the entire upstairs for me and the stairs as well, so I was like, "Yes." And
Very good, very
it
nice.
didn't cause really any problems, so, hey, I mean, you gotta be careful what you ask for because sometimes you will get it.
You know, I have a project I'm working on. We're doing me and a 77-year-old veteran partner. We're doing an RV park for veterans and affordable housing for seniors, and we kind of want to show the world on how it could be done. And we've been having troubles finding a civil engineer to do it, and I phone calls for 13 months. I've been trying to get this engineer to do our site plan, and I finally said, I'm just going to give it to the universe. When it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And 72 hours later, through some weird chain of events that I can only say is magic, I've got an engineer in my building from 6 o'clock to 2 o'clock in the morning. We were just talking about life and projects in general, and I know that that's what we're working with here is the laws of the universe and getting in touch with how to bring things forward, and that's what living in your greatness is. There is no, and this is the other thing that I've really discovered is nobody's broken or nobody needs to be fixed. No matter where you are in life, you're exactly where you need to be. Life is unfolding exactly the way it's supposed to.
Mhm.
But if you feel stuck and you want more, if it, I met a 85-year-old woman who wrote a book. She thought she'd never do anything like that, and it was 1,000 Ways to Spice Up Your Life. Actually, Mary Morrissey's mother wrote this book, and it was really funny because she said a couple had come to her and said, "Thank you for the living room table," and she's like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, well, one of the 1,000 ways to spice up your life was to have sex on your living room table, and we broke it, so we got a brand new living room set. Funny stuff, funny stuff. You're never too young, and you're never too old to make a difference, and it's
You know,
it's
I
just
Yeah, you bring up something that I think is truly, and I really want to highlight something that you said is that we're not broken. There's nothing wrong with us. We are exactly where we're on our path. But also, it's okay to not be satisfied. And it's okay to want more or different for ourselves. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. But I do hate when people are trying to create from, and I've been so guilty of this. So I'm not passing judgment here, but when people are trying to create from a place of like, I don't want this, I don't want this. I mean, it's not the same energy. It's not the same vibe. And you don't have the same you might get the thing or the whatever that but it's not the same.
So to speak to what you're saying, and we have to be we have to be looking, and we think in pictures.
Hmm.
If I say feather, a vision of a feather comes to your mind, and that's the vision that we want for the future, is what we see ourselves, who we see ourselves being. And a perfect example is the girl who doesn't want keep getting the bad boy. I don't want the bad boy. I don't want the bad boy. And guess who keeps showing up for her is the bad boy. You have to sit down and write out the 100 non-negotiable things you want in a partner, and then imagine that person walking into your life. And that's,
Hmm.
I understand what you're saying. And I believe that the pull for more is what we're here for. We're here to grow. And there's nothing
Exactly.
wrong with that. And the farther we get away from who we are authentically as our, we're spiritual beings having a human experience, no doubt about it. And
Hmm.
the farther we get away from who we really are and what we're here to do, I think is where anxiety and addiction and a lot of the negative things come into play. And I always say it's about building a new model. You can't fix your old self. You have to dream in and bring in the new thoughts and the new habits and the new to create that new model.
Exactly. And to just sort of reiterate too, what you're saying in a different way is like using the bad boy example. If you're still thinking about, I don't want the bad, that's what you're focusing on. You're focusing on the bad boy. So of course the bad boy keeps showing up. If you're thinking, I'm so broke, I'm so broke, I'm so broke, why do you think you're still so broke? Because that's what I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be broke. Then, well, you get more of not wanting to be broke.
So by breaking down these paradigms, it keeps people from living through their current results. They're looking at their bank account balance for their current results. They're looking at their relationships at their current results. Instead of envisioning what they want, they're envisioning and repeating the same cycle of what they have, and they're living through
Yeah.
their current circumstances and limitations.
Exactly, and it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, if we're gonna tell ourselves a story, which it's all a story, then why not tell ourselves a better one? You know?
Yeah, you might as well just get ridiculous with it and dream this super big and just live a fantasy
Yeah.
and
Well,
work.
I mean, what does it hurt? Because, I mean, what does it genuinely hurt? Is it more fun to think about, the fantasy or what you're deeming as your reality? Because it's all just a passing moment anyway. And I always love the term too, because we all do go through bad stuff. I don't care who you are, we go through bad things. Or things that are not optimal, but I always tell myself all is in divine order, all is in divine order. It really helps. I don't know about you, but so I'm curious too. I mean, you're an author, you're a speaker, you've done all these things, but you didn't start out doing that. And you really have to grow into allowing yourself to be vulnerable and seen in order to create in such a way. And I'm curious what kind of resistance came up for you, if any.
I've had some limiting or false beliefs that I've had to deal with. Let's just, alcohol has always been a part of my life. I was born in kind of an alcoholic family. My father, he was actually one of the authors, creators of the DARE program. So I see him showing this, and then I see him drinking every day or every weekend, and so I had to come to grips with that habit, and I was able to eliminate that. So anybody who's fighting with addiction, there is answers. There is ways to negotiate out of it without completely drop. It isn't. It's just the separation from who you are that's causing
Yeah,
your 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 pull towards bad things.
exactly.
Um,
I'm sorry
I,
to interrupt really quickly though, but when I quit drinking and I was a professional drinker, I mean, absolutely, hands down, I could have won awards about my drinking. there was something I just decided to stop, and it was that exactly what you're saying. I just had lost me, and I literally just decided. I mean, it sounds as simple as that, but it really was. I'm like, I'm not a drinker anymore, and I did go through all my things and all my steps to get sober and remain sober, but now it's a thing of the past. And so I think that, that's one of the things that you and I really connected on, was this idea of there's more than one way to walk
Yeah.
through these things, and there's more on the other side of sobriety besides not drinking.
Yeah. It just slows your progress. It cuts you off from who you're supposed to be, and it just
Mhm.
doesn't serve me anymore. So I was able to build a new model that didn't include it, and I'm very, very happy with that.
I love that. I'm going to ask you one more question about that, because I think you and I both are the types of people that we don't really want to focus on that aspect of it because it's no longer a part of our lives. But we have to
Correct.
let people know where we were so that they understand where we are now, and they can say, hey, I could do that too. But the thing that I really love is this idea that, the universe doesn't like a void. So if you're taking something out, you've got to fill it with something else, because you can't just take something away. It's going to be filled with something. So why not be deliberate and intentional about what it is that you're filling it with? And is that kind of also one of the things that you got more creative to when you filled your space with creativity?
I was bombarded with a belief, an idea that I really took to heart, which was surround yourself with like-minded people. And I learned about a mastermind, and two minds together is 10 times more powerful than yourself, by yourself. And that's where I found Global Speakers Mastermind and Gratitude Warrior with Eric Swanson and John Kovac Jr. And I've been masterminding with them for almost a year now, and that's where the inspiration for me to become part of one of his books. It's the Book of Human Empowerment, which we're doing a book signing at the end of the month at Barnes and Noble. So I'm super excited about it, and it's just I'm stepping into something, into an area that I didn't think I ever would be, and I'm just super grateful and just super happy to be here.
And we're so happy. And for those that are watching, Eric Swanson is the reason how we met. You and I met, and he is such a remarkable human being. And him and John they were both on my last show, Own Your Wellness, and Eric's been on this one, but not John yet. He's next. But yeah, Mastermind, that was probably one of the first ones that I really did that was what it said it was. And it really was, you're in the hot seat or you're not, but you get borrowed benefits. If you're not, you don't have, somebody else has, you can apply what they're asking to your life. So no matter what, you get something out of it if you keep your eyes open.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, the Thinking into Results program is 12 lessons spread out over 6 months, and just even lesson one is your limiting beliefs, paradigms, and just setting the right goals. And if you're feeling that you're stuck and you want more, and you just don't know which way to go, that's what I like to do, is help people, kind of take the layers off the onion, figure out what they're passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that really, really just really came to me when I looked at my past and what I've done and what I've been happy with. I spent many years in the automotive business, running service departments, and then I traveled for two of the major auto manufacturers, consulting within the dealerships, finding solutions for things that weren't working.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that's just really come to mind is my real sole purpose is, and I've always been happy doing it, is helping people get from where they are to where they want to go. The
Yep.
path of least resistance, and it's so freeing when you figure out what your purpose is and what gives you life and what you can
Mm-hmm.
give others and help them go that way. But this is an emotional, and I never thought I would say that, but life is an emotional journey. It's figuring out what feels good and what doesn't, letting go of the stuff that doesn't serve you, and what doesn't feel good and moving in the direction that does. And, I just, anybody out there who's feeling frustrated or angry, you can't move
Mhm.
forward with any of those real negative beliefs, with any anger towards other people or animosity or revenge, all those negative into the scales.
Exactly. And if I had a mic drop, I would drop it right now. That is all the time that we have for today. I just want to say thank you, Jeff. That was so wonderful. And thank you for
I,
blessing us with your knowledge and your wisdom. It's been
I'm
absolutely wonderful.
so grateful to be here. I thank you so much, Julianne. It's been an amazing,
Too
amazing day.
quick. Well, everyone, that is all the time that we have for today. I want to say thank you for joining us. Be sure to join us next week on Thursday. And until then, enjoy the rest of your week. Bye for now.
Thank you.